Thank you, Mayor Fisher, Attorney Mike O'Connor, to the Louisville Metro Council, to Tamika Palmer. As I sit and look at her and Bianca, my heart is filled because with Lanita, Sam, and I, we have become like family. And it has been so long getting to this day where we could assure that Breonna Taylor life wouldn't be swept under the rug like so many other black women in America who have been killed by police, marginalized. So I'm grateful to the actions of the city of Louisville today. And it is not just the historic $12 million settlement, which, as I understand, is the largest amount ever paid out for a black woman in a wrongful death killed by a police in America. And Lanita, I believe it may be the largest amount ever paid for a black person in a police shooting. We're still trying to verify that. And it is certainly, Tamika Mallory, one of the largest amounts ever paid out for any person in the way of settlement in a police killing in America. But the comprehensive reform that the Louisville Metro Council and Mayor Fisher put forth is equally important, because this is about setting a precedence. When my great co-counsels from Kentucky, Lanita Baker and Sam Aguiar, first talked to me about this black woman who had been killed in her own apartment by this no-knock warrant, they were very concerned that nobody cared. Nobody cared about this black woman. Nobody cared about Tamika's baby. And that's when I started calling everybody I know to say that black women's lives matter too. I remember calling Reverend Al Sharpton saying, "Can I come on your show?" I remember calling Ricky Smiley saying, "Can I get on your radio show, your national radio show?" I called Tamika Mallory and my son and her team at Until Freedom. I called Senator Kamala Harris. I mean, I was saying to anybody who would listen, Breonna Taylor life matters. And Senator Kamala Harris was the first national elected official to go on national television and to say her name, Breonna Taylor. I called Teslin Figaro and Charlemagne and everybody to say, we cannot let her life be swept under the rug. And from all of these individuals and so many others, especially the activists who came and was on the ground here in Louisville saying that we won't let Breonna Taylor life be swept under the rug. And thank God, with what has happened today, Mayor Fisher, not just with the historic amount, but equally important with the reform that Attorney Baker and Attorney O'Connor spoke of, it sets a precedence for other black women, that their lives won't be marginalized, that they will be valued. Lives like Sandra Bland, lives like Pamela Turner in Baytown, Texas, lives like 7-year-old Ayanna Stanley in Detroit, who also was killed as a result of a dangerous no-knock warrant, because we have to speak truth to power when we get an opportunity. And these dangerous no-knock warrants are disproportionately executed against black people in America. And so I'm very happy that the Metro Council also stood united with Tamika Palmer to pass Breonna's law to abolish these dangerous no-knock warrants, because it was foreseeable who was most being put in danger with these no-knock warrants. And so I want to point out very significant what happened in Louisville here today in representing George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Pamela Turner in Baytown, Texas, right outside of Houston, Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Botham Jones in Dallas, Texas, Joseph Richardson in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and so many other names of black people who have been killed by police in America. While most of America is dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, we in Black America are not only dealing with that pandemic, but we're also dealing with the 1619 pandemic. The pandemic that started 401 years ago when the first enslaved Africans came to America. And from that day to this one, we have been dealing with systematic racism and oppression that have killed us inside and outside the courtroom. So it is worth noting that in all those other cities, there has not been the responsive, comprehensive, and systematic reform that has occurred in Louisville, Kentucky, Tamika Palmer, in the name of Breonna Taylor. In the name of Breonna Taylor. But regardless of this landmark step on the journey to justice, we still are demanding that Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron bring charges immediately against the police officers that murdered Breonna Taylor. Immediately. This week, justice delayed is justice denied. The city leadership has done a significant step today, but now it is on Daniel Cameron and the Attorney General of Kentucky's office to bring charges, and at the very minimum, Lanita, second-degree manslaughter charges, because we want full justice for Breonna Taylor, not just partial justice. Breonna Taylor is a light to help heal what's happening in America. And for all those young people, those celebrities, athletes, but most importantly, the people who are on the ground, the people who are the activists and protesters who saying enough is enough. We see that there are two justice systems in America, one for Black America and one for white America. In Louisville, Kentucky, we took significant steps today in the name of Breonna Taylor of trying to correct this broken criminal justice system. And we do it in three phases. In the civil rights phase with this civil lawsuit, which is the only thing that Lanita and I can control. We can't control the criminal prosecution. The mayor's office and the city leadership all took a significant step in making sure that the civil rights of Breonna Taylor was recognized. And now we also need our legislative partners to help transform the protest into policy. We need Breonna's law, not just in Louisville, not just in the state of Kentucky, but all throughout the United States of America, because her life matters. And lastly, we need the criminal justice system, Daniel Cameron, to do its part, to give the full constitutional guarantees of all citizens to a citizen, a daughter of Louisville, Kentucky, Breonna Taylor. And I would ask, in completing the healing, Mr. Mayor and City Attorney O'Connell, that all those young people who were courageous enough, like Tamika Palmer and so many of your own in Louisville, the unknown John Lewises of the world who are creating good trouble here in Louisville, I would implore you, since Tamika calls me and Rev the Black America's Attorney General, and I don't know if the Attorney General of the United States is going to employ you to do it, but I will employ you to drop the charges against the nonviolent protesters who was exercising their First Amendment rights because they said Breonna Taylor life mattered. And these young people should not have criminal records because they were on the right side of history. You all took a significant step, and we want you all to be on the right side of history with us completely. Drop those charges in Breonna Taylor's name. Let's do justice in Breonna Taylor's name. And let's do justice with love in our hearts, because that is emblematic of Breonna Taylor, who Tamika says is the best version of her. Say her name, Breonna Taylor.